What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and co-op is now live. Co-op quests are now live for the brand new season. Remember that this is the final co-op season of this current block, where once this season does finish, the Grand Feast Sugo Fest will be live, so make sure to go ahead and farm up as many of your Grand Feast stones as possible. Now, what we're doing in this video is we're looking at one of the easier difficulties against the Emperor difficulty of co-op quest, and I'm showing you guys 3 separate teams that are able to clear the missions. So what you're seeing is my own team's recorded, you know, the screen that I'm recording is my own team, where it's just not fulfilling the challenge. However, the other team is my wife, and you know, her team is fulfilling the mission. So it still shows the team at the start of the clip. Make sure to go ahead and see it. You can see some of the supports that are on those teams. First thing though is the Quick squad versus Quick. It is a little bit interesting, especially once you get to like Infinitum C, where not only do you have to build a Quick team to beat it, but you also got to build a Quick Striker powerhouse team, I believe it is. So the team you see in this video is not going to fulfill that specific challenge, but for the King of the Pirates and the Emperor tier challenge, you only have to beat it with just the monocolor team. So due to that, we can build it in a lot more efficient ways, which is nice. You know, like we can have Zoro Sanji, for example, who is not a striker or a powerhouse unit, but Zoro Sanji are just so good that putting him on a team is phenomenal, right? But you know, that's going to be something moving forward that you're going to be very cautious of. In terms of Quick Striker powerhouse units, off the top of my head, I mean, you've got like Quick Kaido as the captain. He can still be used. He's a really good captain to be using. The free-to-play Quick Big Mom is also really good for removing defensive effects off of the opponent's side of the field. You could use a character like Guild Tesor, who's got a great special, of course. Magellan that you're seeing on this team, Hiro's Bind and Paralysis, I believe, with his special, or Bind and something else with his special, and also gives color affinity, which is kind of neat. So we'll have to wait and see. Like versus Akainu, for example, is another character you could potentially use even as a captain. So there are a couple of different options, but realistically speaking, I feel like Quick is probably one of the hardest ones to build for, because they don't have like great utility captains like some of the other colors in the game, like Psy and Int. Are pretty good for that kind of thing. But that is one thing as well that is kind of annoying for like Int specifically, which we'll talk about a little bit later. They don't have like they don't have a lot of good dual units that have the ability to grant like buffs every single turn. I mean, technically Roger Whitebeard is a really good Int character you could be using. At least for Quick, you could use character like Zoro Sanji, but of course, once you get to Infinitum C, as I said, you have to build a Quick Striker powerhouse team. It does change the way that you have to kind of build your own teams, right? But anyways, I'll leave you guys with the rest of this clip with versus Quick taking on the Emperor co-op quest, and then we'll move on to the next team after this clip concludes. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to the next team, which is going to be the Mono Psy team, as you see there. So my wife has her device with the Psy team, and Psy is definitely going to be the easiest of the 3 ones to complete. I believe Free Spirit, like especially when you get to the Infinitum C difficulty, where you have to build for a class and a color. I believe the mission for Infinitum C for Psy is going to be Psy Cerebral and Psy Free Spirit. So that's going to be pretty easy to build for, all things considered. I mean, you can't use Roger Whitebeard because they're not Cerebral or Free Spirit once you get to Infinitum C, but Shanks Crew, for example, he's a Cerebral unit, so you could definitely use that if you wanted to. Gear 5 Luffy being able to be used is awesome. Momonosuke is a character that you could use because he is Free Spirit. A lot of the Shanks units as well are Psy Free Spirit or Psy Cerebral, so that also works really well. So I think that's going to be a relatively easy one that people are going to be able to get done. So I don't think, you know, versus Psy, there's not really too much to talk about. Psy is already pretty comfortable, honestly. They just got so many powerful units that synergize really well together. And, you know, you've got Roger Whitebeard. You could use their switch effect to generate an attack and an orb boost every single turn, albeit they're not Free Spirit or Cerebral, but at least for the earlier difficulties, you can definitely use them in that regard. But of course, once you get to those deeper levels of Infinitum C, you won't be able to use Roger Whitebeard to fulfill this specific mission, which does kind of suck. It means you'll have to just, you know, rely on Shanks Crew or some other dual unit to generate boosts every single turn. It is going to be interesting as things move forward. Potentially, we see more territory gimmick effects come into the game. We know the free-to-play character in this Grand Party season, Hiyori, has the territory effect, so it's going to be interesting to see if this territory effect is going to be a thing moving forward, because it does benefit both you and your partner in Co-op Quest. So that's going to be really fascinating to see the developments of team building in Co-op Quest when it comes down to the territory buffs coming into the game. The other mechanic of HP Guard, we'll have to wait and see if that has any you know, beneficial effects that could help us out in Co-op Quest. But as for right now, we don't really know too much right now, but not really too much else to say about the Psy team. The Psy is going to be pretty easy, of course. If you're not using Gear 5 Luffy, I mean, you could use... There's a bunch of units. You could just use like Momonosuke as your main captain as well. Like, that's another thing you could potentially do. There's a lot of different options for Psy just because of the sheer brutal power of them. You could even use Gold Roger if you really wanted to go down that route as well. But I'll leave you guys with the rest of this clip, and then we'll move on to the final team in the next clip, which is going to be the INT squad. Alright, so having a look at our next team is going to be versus the INT team. So we have the INT team on my wife's device going ahead and taking on this challenge with me with my generic Gear 5 squad. Speaking of just this generic squad that I was using initially, you know, we'll have to wait and see you know, what the most ideal team build is, but of course with every new season, you know, different characters will have cooldowns, different classes, different, you know, rumble styles all get different types of cooldowns. So fulfilling the conditions of the rules of the Grand Party season is going to really benefit you in a lot of different ways, making sure that you actually build a team that is succinct and actually has good synergy and works within the rules, so you don't really have to do stall or, you know, build any weird funky teams. But as for the INT team that is used in this specific clip, we're going to be using Katakuri, Super Type Katakuri as the co-op captain because it's an INT character, is Driven. I believe Driven also receive a bunch of cooldown in this Grand Party season. But the Katakuri is also a debuffer style unit. Debuffers are my personal favorite, you know, Rumble style unit to use as co-op captains. Removing beneficial effects by one is so strong. and especially when you partner that with Gear 5 Luffy, that also has the effect to further remove beneficial effects by 1 turn. So if you have, like, you know, obviously 2 different teams with a debuff captain and a Gear 5 captain, you can remove 4 turns of beneficial effects in the same turn. You know, activate special, Gear 5, skip, and then your other partner can go Gear 5 special, and then the co-op special as well. Like, it's pretty crazy. But obviously the big downside of using Gear 5 Luffy as one of the captains is that if there is a death hit and you've used your revive mechanic, or you've used the EX of Luffy, he doesn't do the revive anymore. So that is where you do have to be very, very careful about that. As for the INT team as well, speaking of that, in this specific clip, using the 10th anniversary Gear 5 Luffy as the main captain, resisting despair, special ability removes bind, removes threshold, really, really great special, of course. Robin Jinbei, they actually don't have a bunch of cooldown this season, so that's something you do have to be very, very cautious of. But, you know, if they had the cooldown, that's a great special, removing defensive effects, granting attack down removal and stuff like that. Halloween Ace is on the team as well. I don't really think Halloween Ace is a great fit for the squad, but Ace gets access to some really, really powerful supports. And as for the other units, you've got Rayleigh. You know, V1 Rayleigh is phenomenal, removing a bunch of different debuffs. I don't think he has max cooldown either this season, so we'll have to wait and see about that one. And also the film Red Sanji, who has Hunger as one of his potential abilities, and then also has a great special to remove poison. He also removes attack down as well, so he's a really, really nice addition to the squad. But that's it. That's all we have right now for the Emperor difficulty of the co-op quest for the current season. I'll be having a bunch of different uploads in regards to the co-op quest this season. We'll go on to King of the Pirates tier next. We have Infinitum Sea to have a look at, and then also there is the new event quest with Pirate King Adventures Ace making an appearance in the co-op quest, so I'll have likely some clips and videos in regards to that over the next couple of days. So make sure to get farming, get your Grand Feast stones ready for the Grand Feast Sugo Fest, as you want to have those gems ready to do a bunch of pulls, get some free Sugo Fest pulls. We all love that stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.
足引っ張んなよ。うっせえな。